Ever imagine yourself hustling in the 1930s? Like, picture it. Great Depression, everyone's scrambling for a buck, and you've got this book, 1,000 Ways to Make $1,000.
A survival guide for tough times.
It is. And guess what? A young Warren Buffett swore by it. So we're diving deep into its wisdom, which is surprisingly relevant even today.
I'm intrigued.
Get ready for some creative money-making schemes. We're talking candied popcorn, even a snack business.
Wow. A book from back then offering lessons for today's entrepreneurs.
Exactly. And it all starts with understanding, well, what money actually is. The book says it's just a medium of exchange.
Not valuable in itself.
Right. Valuable because we all agree it is. Like, they used whiskey and beads as currency back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine trading a barrel of whiskey for, I don't know, a farm?
Those historical examples really highlight how money is, at its core, a social construct based on trust.
And speaking of trust, the book tells the story of John Patterson, the guy who brought us the National Cash Register Company.
Cash register?
You might think, cash registers, boring. But Patterson saw their potential, even when others were skeptical.
So he was ahead of his time.
He was. Didn't just improve the cash register either. He kind of invented modern salesmanship to sell it. Pioneered like testimonials, sales demonstrations, even sales training programs.
Ideas we still use today.
It's like he wrote the playbook on how to convince someone they need your product, even if they've never even heard of it before. Imagine the persistence, to change people's minds about a cash register.
It's true. Innovation isn't always about flashy new inventions. Sometimes it's finding creative ways to market and sell existing products.
Absolutely. Okay, ready for a story about tomato juice and some seriously clever marketing.
Okay, I'm listening.
Have you ever heard of Morning Glory tomato juice?
The name rings a bell. I can't place it, though.
Okay, picture this. It's the Depression. The Sneed family has this tomato canning factory. To make their juice stand out, they decided to target the social elite.
The trendsetters.
Yes. They sent samples to, prominent families in cities like Philadelphia, getting their product into the hands of those who influence what everyone else wants.
Creating a buzz among the in-crowd to drive demand. Classic. Did it work?
It totally did. Once those families started serving Morning Glory tomato juice, the Sneeds, well, they leveraged that social proof. They got it into upscale hotels, even on the menus of luxury train lines, all without spending a fortune on advertising.
So they understood the power of perception, targeted a specific niche to create a ripple effect. Fascinating.
Like the original influencer marketing campaign. Makes you wonder what seemingly simple products today could be elevated with a similar approach.
Absolutely. Understanding your target audience and their aspirations is crucial for crafting a successful marketing strategy.
Now let's talk about John Wanamaker, synonymous with retail. Opened his first clothing store in 1861.
Right as the Civil War was starting. Talk about bad timing. Seriously. He struggled at first. But his big break came when he bought a clothing manufacturer's entire stock, like a steal. To sell it fast, he took a gamble, invested his last $24 in newspaper ads.
That's a bold move,
Right.
especially when you're down to your last dollars.
Right. Paid off, though. The ads were so successful, he cleared out the entire stock in just 2 weeks.
Wow.
This experience, it didn't just save his business, it taught him the power of advertising. Set the stage for his future success, really.
So a calculated risk, combined with a keen understanding of marketing, can turn a tough situation into a winning formula.
Exactly. Okay, the book also tells the story of a candy maker, right? Having a tough time selling his sweets.
Oh, no.
Instead of giving up, he decided to figure out why his candy wasn't selling.
Makes sense.
Oh,
So easy to get attached to our own creations and assume everyone else will love them.
I know, right? So he basically became a student of his customers, asked for feedback, watched what people were buying, and actually adapted his recipes based on what he learned. He recognized that success isn't about pushing your own ideas. It's about understanding and fulfilling what the market wants.
Totally. Now, the book dives deep into the art of salesmanship, and it paints this picture of selling as a career with tons of freedom, flexibility, earning potential.
A lot of people think salespeople are just smooth talkers.
Yeah, but this book emphasizes they're students of human nature.
Interesting.
It really emphasizes understanding psychology, developing a strong closing technique, even provides specific examples of how to guide a hesitant customer. Okay, think of a car salesman. Simplifies the buying process by focusing on specific preferences. If you'll just check your preferences for color, tires, and body style, I'll put your order through so they can drive the car next Sunday.
I see. Or the washing machine salesman. emphasizing the time-saving benefits. Imagine you could have this machine in your basement by Monday and finish your washing long before noon, leaving you free from worry and work all Monday afternoon.
Yeah. Those examples highlight the power of framing the sale in a way that makes it easy for the customer to say yes.
By focusing on the benefits they'll experience.
Now, there are tons of stories of successful salespeople in the book, but one that really stood out to me was about a tailor named Gleason. He was having a really tough time selling suits.
What was he doing wrong?
His approach was pretty dry, impersonal, just wasn't resonating with customers.
So he needed a new strategy.
Well, he had this chance encounter with a more experienced salesman, right, who taught him the importance of painting a picture for the customer.
So instead of just listing features, he needed to engage with potential buyers in a more relatable way.
Exactly. He learned to compare his suits favorably to what they were wearing. Actually picture them wearing the suit.
Yeah.
And avoiding negative suggestions when closing the deal.
All about creating a positive experience for the customer.
And those simple changes, they made all the difference. He went from barely making any sales to selling an average of 4 suits a day.
It's amazing how refining your sales techniques and finding ways to connect with customers on a deeper level can make such a difference.
And then there's Mrs. Lyast, who overcame her fear of selling to become this successful fashion entrepreneur.
Really?
I know. She was initially terrified to even approach customers.
Fear of selling is a hurdle a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs face. How did she overcome it?
She found her confidence by focusing on genuine conversation.
Instead of a hard sell.
Exactly. She talked to customers about their style preferences, showed them fashion cards, compared her designs to those in popular magazines.
She turned the interaction into a friendly conversation.
And it worked. It's a reminder that sales, at its core, is about human connection, building relationships based on trust and shared interests.
Absolutely. And her success shows that even without prior experience, anyone can succeed in sales by focusing on building authentic connections.
Another story showcasing salesmanship creativity is about a guy named Winton, selling radios. He used punch boards.
Punch boards, those boards where you punch out a circle and hope to win.
Yes. He set them up in hotels, barbershops, cigar stores, anywhere people gathered. When someone punched out the board, they'd win a radio.
So it was like a game.
It was. But the brilliance was in how he used the punch boards as a platform to showcase the value of his radios.
So he didn't just rely on the game itself. He actively demonstrated the radios to potential customers.
Exactly. Made sure people could experience the radios firsthand. Hear them. It's like the early version of experiential marketing.
Let people experience it for themselves.
Now we've got Hawkins, the shoe salesman, faced tons of competition. To stand out, he made a bold promise. He guaranteed the fit of his shoes.
A guarantee can be a powerful tool for building trust, especially for something like shoes.
Right. Hawkins understood people were tired of shoes that pinched. His guarantee addressed that, showed he stood behind his product.
A simple, customer-focused guarantee can be key to standing out.
The book also highlights using premiums to incentivize purchases. Horner, a salesman, found great success with this.
Premiums, like buy one, get one free offers.
Exactly. Horner's key insight was that the premiums had to offer genuine value. He focused on things like electric clocks, silverware, things people wanted but might hesitate to buy for themselves.
So he created a win-win for both the merchant and the customer.
Exactly. Quality and relevance matter.
Okay, let's hear about Johnson. He had a knack for selling printing services. His sales pitch was all about offering tangible benefits.
A clear value proposition. What was his approach?
He focused on 3 things: cost savings, convenient delivery, a simple ordering process.
Practical concerns. Makes sense.
He highlighted how his pricing was competitive, assured customers they wouldn't have to wait long for their printed materials, and made it easy for them to place orders and get exactly what they needed.
So he removed potential barriers to purchase.
Now let's shift gears. Talk about something especially relevant during the Depression: rebuilding discarded household equipment.
Resourcefulness out of necessity. The book suggests that with some basic tools, you could turn like discarded washers, vacuum cleaners, refrigerators into profitable ventures, refurbishing and reselling them.
Giving new life to old things.
One story that embodies this resourcefulness is about a man named Overhouse. He kind of accidentally stumbled into the antique business.
An accident entrepreneur, those are the best stories.
Right. He was visiting his mother and found this old spinning wheel in her attic. Just for kicks, took it to an antique dealer in Chicago. The dealer offered him $50 for it. if you could find more.
Really?
So we went back to his mother's town. People were practically giving spinning wheels away, considered them clutter. He ended up collecting 39 spinning wheels, like $4 each, turned a tidy profit selling them.
He recognized value where others saw only junk.
Fascinating. It makes you wonder what seemingly worthless items today might be tomorrow's treasures.
It does. We should keep our eyes open for those hidden opportunities.
Next up, Billy B. Van and his Pine Tree Soap shows how important it is to understand your customer's limitations.
Especially during tough times.
He was selling door to door during the Depression. Quickly realized that even if people liked his soap, they just couldn't afford it up front.
Times were hard.
So he started offering flexible payment options. Let customers pay a small deposit or settle the full amount later. Simple change, but let it make sales he would have missed otherwise.
Little bit of understanding and flexibility goes a long way.
Another successful salesman, Clarence Travis, sold shirts direct to customers. His secret, building trust.
Crucial for any business. How did he do that?
He encountered a lot of skepticism. People had been burned by pushy salesmen. So he was upfront about potential issues, addressed concerns directly, focused on demonstrating his commitment to customer satisfaction.
He prioritized long-term relationships over quick transactions.
Okay, now for a product that combines salesmanship with novelty.
Yeah.
The cigarette case lighter.
A cigarette case lighter.
It was a new invention in the 1930s. One salesman capitalized on its novelty and convenience to target young men. He'd hang out at popular gas stations, showcasing the lighter, emphasizing how easy it was to, light a cigarette with one hand on the wheel.
Highlighting the practicality and the coolness.
He tapped into the desire for both convenience and novelty. His targeted approach helped him generate a lot of sales.
Understanding your audience is key, appealing to their desires.
Now, the book also dedicates a significant chunk to handicrafts. Even during the Depression, people were eager to learn these skills.
It's inspiring how people turned to creativity and resourcefulness to generate income.
For sure. There were public school classes, the YMCA offered classes, and craft magazines were a source of patterns, instructions.
They had so many resources.
And they didn't just stop at making things. The book offered practical advice on marketing these handmade goods, like through gift shops, word of mouth, setting up shops at home.
Finding creative ways to reach your target market.
Okay, now we got to dive into specialty food businesses. The book is full of stories of entrepreneurs who found success by tapping into niche markets.
Food businesses always tap into something so fundamental. What stood out to you?
One that caught my eye was the Knapp family's success with selling pressed chicken. They used a pressure cooker for efficiency and got creative, adding sliced vegetables, olives, hard-boiled eggs.
Efficiency and creativity, a good combo.
Another inspiring story involves Ruth Jones, a widow who carved out a niche market providing felt lettering for sports uniforms.
Identifying a specific need and filling it. It's inspiring.
Totally. And sometimes the most successful businesses are those that address a need that others haven't even considered.
Right.
This one really showcases the courage of entrepreneurs during that era. George End and his snake snack business.
The snake snack business. I am definitely curious about that.
He discovered that rattlesnake meat was surprisingly delicious, saw an opportunity to market it as a unique delicacy. He faced challenges, of course. But his willingness to explore an unconventional market is inspiring.
He was willing to step outside of his comfort zone.
Now, the book doesn't just tell you how to make your first $1,000. It also offers guidance on how to manage and invest it.
It's like a complete guide to earning and making your money work for you.
Exactly. It reminds us that true financial success isn't just about earning. It's about making smart choices that will help you build a secure future.
It really is. It's amazing how this book, written during such hardship, offers timeless wisdom for today's entrepreneurs. The stories really highlight the importance of persistence, adaptability, understanding human nature.
It's true. One thing that keeps coming up is that power of finding a niche market, offering something unique, like Ruth Jones with her felt lettering.
Yeah, and not just products. The book highlights niche services, too, like the Tosdale sisters and their Parisian-inspired pillows.
Parisian-inspired pillows.
Yeah, they capitalized on the holiday season, rented a window display at a local laundry. Brilliant.
Talk about thinking outside the box. They knew people would be looking for gifts and found a creative way to get their products in front of them.
Sometimes you don't need a fancy storefront to succeed, just a little ingenuity.
Speaking of unique offerings, the book tells the story of Kona. He was an antique furniture restorer.
Ooh.
But the Depression hit his business hard.
Makes sense. Antique furniture, not exactly a necessity.
Right. But he noticed a growing interest in miniature furniture, probably because people were spending more time at home, seeking ways to personalize their spaces.
So he pivoted.
He did. Started creating miniature replicas of his larger pieces.
What a clever way to leverage his existing skills.
Yeah.
Did it work?
It did. People started buying them not just for dollhouses, but as decorative items for their own homes.
He turned a challenge into a whole new avenue for his business.
Okay, this next story is definitely one of the more unusual ones in the book. It's about Catherine Reedy. She lived on a homestead in Arizona, turned her fascination with snakes into a side hustle.
Snakes? I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
She started out collecting bugs, selling them to biological supply houses to make ends meet. But then her knowledge of snakes led to an even more intriguing opportunity.
Okay, now I'm really curious.
She began collecting and selling rattlesnake venom to a laboratory that used it to create antivenom.
Wow. Turning a potential danger into a life-saving resource and a business.
It shows that specialized knowledge, even in a field as niche as, well, snakes, can be valuable.
Absolutely. And her courage, too. Imagine the risks.
Now, let's shift gears to a business that thrived on speed and convenience. A hamburger stand, focused on serving a better hamburger sandwich in a hurry.
Affordable, quick meals must have been in high demand during the Depression.
For sure. This stand's owner, Mac, had a simple philosophy. Quality ingredients, fast service. He knew people working nearby needed a quick lunch.
So convenience and efficiency.
Yeah. He served his hamburgers on rye buns with relish and mayonnaise dressing, charged a dime.
Sounds tasty. And a good price.
People loved his burgers. They'd line up to buy them.
It's a classic formula for success. Quality and convenience.
The book also features a story about a greaseless donut shop. The owner, Lovely, left his newspaper job to pursue his entrepreneurial dreams.
Wow. That takes guts.
It does. He had this hunch people would be drawn to donuts that weren't, well, greasy.
So a unique selling proposition, greaseless donuts.
And he was right. Gave away his first batch of samples, quickly built a loyal following.
Let the product speak for itself.
Let's move beyond food. Explore the creative potential of paper crafting. The book suggests you could turn paper into income, even back then.
I'm listening. What kind of ventures?
Everything. From creating personalized silhouettes, designing folding screens, to stylish closet accessories, decorating everyday objects, like waste paper baskets.
It's amazing what you can do with paper.
It reminds us that even basic materials can become something unique and valuable.
Speaking of creative ventures, the book tells the story of F.W. Davis, a flower enthusiast, had a passion for growing violas.
Violas?
Those little flowers, similar to pansies. He had this small business, but when the Depression hit, he had to find a new way to market his flowers. He decided to target restaurants.
Restaurants. What did he offer them?
Fresh violas to use as garnishes.
What a simple yet elegant idea.
He found a niche market and offered something that added a special touch.
Now let's hear about a woman who turned her knowledge of mink farming into a thriving business. This was when fur was becoming super popular.
Okay.
She started raising mink for their pelts, but then realized there was a growing demand for breeding stock.
People wanted to start their own mink farms.
Exactly. So she started selling her minks to aspiring mink farmers, even offered training services.
She adapted to a shift in the market. Instead of just providing a product, she was offering expertise.
Speaking of adapting, the book also discusses the rise of goat dairies during the Depression.
Goat dairy.
People were seeking alternative milk sources. Goat milk was becoming more popular.
Interesting.
The book highlights the potential of these dairies, emphasizing the low cost of raising goats and the increasing demand for goat milk.
It's fascinating how economic conditions and changing consumer needs can drive new trends.
Now let's talk about intensive poultry farming. The book describes this poultry farm in Maryland. Housed 61,000 chickens on just 1 acre.
Wow. That's a lot of chickens in a small space.
It was a system of wire cages, climate-controlled buildings. Far cry from the traditional image of chickens roaming free.
Intensive farming practices, driven by the need to maximize output with limited resources.
The book also mentions mushroom farming as a potentially lucrative venture. The demand for mushrooms was increasing.
Makes sense. They can be grown in small spaces. Ideal for urban settings.
Now shifting gears to a service that was relevant for farmers during the Depression. Selling and installing farm signs.
Farm signs, a simple way to advertise.
The book emphasized creating well-made, eye-catching signs to stand out and attract attention.
Even in a world of digital marketing, traditional advertising can still be effective.
The book doesn't just focus on starting businesses. It also explores invention and patents, creating a new product, patenting it.
A path to success.
They emphasize that even small inventions can be lucrative if they solve a problem.
So, true innovation, not just slight modifications.
One example they highlight is a man who invented a smaller, more powerful motor for model airplanes.
He was an enthusiast himself.
He knew exactly what was needed. His invention not only led to better model airplanes, but also to a successful business.
The ripple effect of innovation.
Another inspiring story involves A.O. Dinsdale. He turned his whittling hobby into a unique business.
Whittling. That's a craft that takes patience.
It does. He started with whimsical animal figures, selling them in art shops. Then he expanded to decorative relief maps, mechanical displays, even historical exhibits for museums.
He pushed the boundaries of his craft.
The book also highlights the HSUE machine, a device designed to break in shoes hydraulically.
Break in shoes, interesting.
The inventor, Mr. Sachs, noticed how many people struggled with stiff shoes. He used hydraulic pressure to stretch and soften shoes, making them more comfortable.
Solving an everyday problem in a simple way.
Now let's talk about homemade products. Even during the Depression, people were willing to pay for quality goods.
They were looking for value and authenticity.
The book shares the story of a woman who made a non-poisonous furniture polish, emphasizing its safety for use around children and pets.
Tapping into consumer concerns, offering a safer alternative.
And there's the story of a widow who created adorable pig dolls, dressed in tiny suits and hats.
How cute.
Her kids' friends love them. She turned her hobby into a business.
A business born out of passion and a desire to create joy.
Now let's step into rural entrepreneurship with the story of the sale barn.
A sale barn.
Basically a weekly auction. Farmers could bring their livestock, produce, goods to sell. The operator would advertise and handle the logistics.
A centralized marketplace, facilitating transactions.
It highlights the importance of community, especially in rural areas.
Speaking of leisure activities, the book mentions the driving range.
Oh, yeah.
It features the story of two young men set up a driving range along a busy highway.
Smart. Tapping into a leisure activity.
They realized people were looking for affordable entertainment, a chance to practice their swings.
They started small, renting a lot, buying golf balls and clubs. They even took turns practicing, hoping to entice people to stop.
A little showmanship can go a long way.
Their business took off. They started offering lessons, selling refreshments, even partnered with a golf pro.
Sometimes the most successful businesses are born out of passion, a willingness to experiment.
Now, for a business that caters to book lovers, the roadside bookstore.
Roadside bookstore sounds charming.
J.C. Meredith opened one near Traverse City, Michigan. Believed that people, even tourists, would appreciate a chance to browse books.
I love browsing bookstore.
He put up a sign that said, "Why hurry? You'll enjoy visiting this roadside bookshop."
Enticing people to slow down.
His bookstore was a success. It proves there's a market for those who can curate a unique selection of goods and create a welcoming atmosphere.
It's about offering an experience, not just a product.
Speaking of experiences, let's talk about retail storekeeping. The book emphasizes that success in retail is about understanding customer needs, offering a curated selection, creating a positive shopping experience.
Timeless principles.
The book emphasizes choosing the right location, managing inventory, adapting to changing trends.
Smart choices are essential.
And they cautioned against getting bogged down with expensive equipment. Start small and gradually upgrade.
Practical advice.
Now, let's step into the world of collectibles with the story of a stamp shop that specialized in rare publications.
Stamp collecting always has a dedicated following.
The owner, Mrs. McIntyre, realized that people were looking for alternative ways to invest their money.
During tough times, people look for different ways to protect their assets.
She saw an opportunity to capitalize on the value of rare stamps, offer them as a tangible asset.
Smart.
She built this huge inventory of back issues, prided herself on being able to track down even the most obscure publications.
Expertise in a niche market.
Now let's talk about a drive-in restaurant. This story is a great example of how a simple idea, executed well, can lead to success. Ted, the owner, started small. Rented a shack, borrowed $50.
Resourcefulness and a willingness to start small.
He knew he had to stand out, so he focused on quality ingredients and a unique twist.
What was it?
Cheese.
Yeah.
He started offering cheeseburgers.
Ah, the cheeseburger.
A classic. His commitment to quality, combined with the novelty of a cheeseburger, helped him build a loyal following.
A small innovation can make all the difference.
Now let's shift to a drugstore that went above and beyond.
Okay.
This drugstore, it created a bright, cheerful space for customers, stocked a wide range of merchandise, from cosmetics, toiletries to basic necessities, even gifts.
A one-stop shop.
And she added a soda fountain and a sandwich counter, offering fresh sandwiches, ice cream, beverages.
Creating a more holistic experience.
Now let's dive into the world of tropical fish.
Yeah.
The book tells the story of a man who turned his passion for aquariums into a business.
I love aquariums.
He realized people were intrigued by tropical fish, but hesitant to keep them, thinking they were delicate.
I can see that.
So he educated his customers about proper care, tank setup, water conditions, feeding habits.
Empowering them with knowledge.
And he stocked a variety of fish, from common to rare and exotic species, appealing to everyone.
Catering to a range of needs.
Now, for a fashion show with a twist, organized by Westinghouse to showcase their refrigerators.
A fashion show to sell refrigerators.
They knew that talking about features wouldn't be enough. They needed to create an experience.
So show, don't tell.
They organized a fashion show that highlighted the versatility and convenience of their refrigerators.
I see. Connecting their product to a lifestyle.
The models showcased outfits, accessories, all while emphasizing how the refrigerator could help busy women manage their households.
That's clever.
The book also discusses the power of freebies to incentivize purchases.
Freebies. Always a good strategy.
One example, a soap maker having trouble getting his product into stores. To break through, he offered a free hand towel with every purchase.
Sweetening the deal.
And it worked. His sales skyrocketed.
It creates a sense of urgency. Makes people want to act quickly.
The book also mentions enlisting the help of school children to spread the word, offering puzzles or toys as incentives, hosting contests.
Simple, yet effective strategies.
Now let's talk about a marketing tool that's essential for direct mail. The mailing list.
Mailing lists are still relevant today.
The book emphasizes that a mailing list is only as valuable as the quality of the names on it. It's better to have a smaller list of people who are genuinely interested.
Absolutely. A targeted list is more effective.
And they highlighted the importance of using your list regularly. The more you communicate, the more likely they are to remember you.
Staying top of mind.
One department store held a contest among its salespeople, offering prizes for those who submitted the most names of potential new customers.
Getting everyone involved.
Now, let's hear about John P. Harding. He opened his first restaurant in Chicago, became known for his innovative marketing.
In a city with so many restaurants, he had to stand out.
He focused on eye-catching ads, often using humor and cartoons. He also understood timing, placed his ads in morning newspapers to entice people for lunch or dinner.
He was strategic.
He also focused on building a reputation for excellent food and service.
Word of mouth is powerful.
He created a holistic customer experience. It really paid off for him.
That seems like it.
Another successful entrepreneur is M.G. Gibbs. He founded People's Drug Stores in Washington, D.C., attributed his success to a consistent approach to advertising.
Consistency is key.
He believed in investing a percentage of his sales back into marketing, ensuring his stores were always top of mind.
Makes sense.
He also created a positive shopping experience, wide selection, competitive prices, friendly service.
It's all connected. Marketing, merchandising, customer service.
Okay, now for a marketing tool that's as relevant today as it was in the 1930s, the sales letter.
The art of writing persuasive sales letters.
They emphasize understanding human nature, appealing to the reader's self-interest. Focus on the benefits, not just features.
Connecting with the reader on an emotional level.
Write in a clear, concise, engaging style. And test different approaches to see what works best.
Good advice.
The book highlights Richard Sears, founder of Sears, Roebuck & Company.
Sears. They started with mail order.
Sears understood that reaching rural customers required a different approach. He knew farmers were busy, valued simplicity, created a catalog that was easy to read, featured clear descriptions, offered competitive prices.
Meeting the needs of your market.
He also built trust with customers, offered a money-back guarantee, and encouraged customers to, write to us in your own way.
Building confidence.
Another mail-order entrepreneur is Henry Field, a seed grower who built a loyal following among farmers.
Selling seeds.
He had a deep understanding of his customers. He had been selling seeds in person for years, building relationships. When he transitioned to mail order, he applied that knowledge.
Leveraging existing relationships.
He wrote in a conversational style that resonated with his audience.
Authenticity goes a long way.
Now let's talk about selling your services.
The service sector is huge these days.
The book emphasizes identifying a need, offering a service that fills it effectively.
Makes sense.
They suggest taking an inventory of your skills, asking yourself, what do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? What skills do you have that most people don't?
Good questions.
One story features a young advertising man who found a niche offering a service to sales managers.
What was it?
He realized that sales managers struggled to write regular letters to their teams. It's important for motivation, but time-consuming.
So he helped them out.
He offered to write those letters for them.
What a great idea.
It was a huge success. He was soon writing letters for over 200 companies.
Solving a problem for a specific audience.
Another story features a man who saw an opportunity to help small businesses that couldn't afford a full-time electrician.
Okay.
He offered to contract with them to keep their electrical equipment in good working order.
Essential service. Helping other businesses run smoothly.
The book also features Mr. Deeds, an archery enthusiast. He turned his passion into a profession through a government-funded program.
How so?
He's an avid archer, started his own archery club. When the government started funding recreational activities, he saw an opportunity.
He was proactive.
At first, they weren't sure about archery. But Mr. Deeds was persistent, offered to provide equipment, demonstrate safety. Eventually, they agreed.
Persistence is key.
His classes were a hit, proving that even a niche activity can find an audience.
Absolutely.
Now, let's hear about a high school teacher who used his love of photography to fund his summer vacations. Robert E. Hughes. He would travel and take pictures.
A great way to spend a summer.
He realized people were always eager to buy souvenirs. Saw an opportunity to offer something more personal than postcards.
What did he do?
He offered to take snapshots of people at tourist destinations, develop the pictures quickly, offer them for sale right there.
Capturing memory is a great idea.
His snapshots were a hit. He funded his travels with the money he earned.
That's amazing.
Another photographer found a niche, offering a service to fashion designers.
Fashion photography.
She specialized in capturing style notes for fashion professionals, traveled to fashion hotspots, took pictures of stylish people to show emerging trends.
A trend spotter.
Exactly. Her photographs provided valuable insights for designers and manufacturers.
Interesting. It really is.
Now, before email and online ads, there was the postal card. Popular for businesses to reach customers, but addressing all those cards, tedious.
I can imagine. Especially for busy owners.
One entrepreneur saw this, started a service, specifically for duplicating, addressing postal cards.
Freed up time for business owners.
Exactly. He even offered to help write the messages. No surprise, his business boomed. He even brought his son in.
A family affair.
Now, for a business that's both entertainment and hustle, the traveling talkie show. Early days of cinema, when talking pictures were new.
Bringing movies to rural communities must have been exciting.
This guy, Cox, saw the opportunity, invested in a sound projector, a used truck, traveled to small towns offering screenings.
So like a mobile cinema.
It was. Yeah. Charged a small fee, made a profit, even figured out he could make more by staying in larger towns longer, offering multiple screenings.
Smart, adapting his approach.
Okay, get ready for this one. It's strange, but intriguing. A man who made a fortune from dental sweepings.
Dental sweepings, you're going to have to explain that one.
So this guy, Towns, worked as a janitor in a medical building. Notice dentists were tossing out gold dust shavings.
From their work, what did he do with it?
He had a hunch, had it assayed. Turned out it was rich in gold.
Wow, really?
He started buying sweepings from dentists, expanded to multiple cities, trash to treasure.
It's amazing what people overlook.
Next, a farmer who rented garden plots to city folks.
Sounds like a good deal for everyone.
It was. He saw city residents wanted fresh veggies but lacked space. Divided his land, rented plots, provided tools, water. Families did the rest.
A nice way to connect urban and rural communities.
Speaking of connecting, this guy made a fortune by renting tables to card players.
Card playing. How did he turn that into a business?
Noticed people loved playing cards in groups, but lacked big tables. So he rented out large tables, comfortable seating, refreshments.
He provided a space for people to gather. Smart.
His business thrived. A place for community, built around cards.
It's true. People need to connect with others.
Now think about this. A travel companion bureau.
Travel companion, what's that?
He connected people who wanted to share costs, companionship on car trips. Imagine solo travel back then.
Must have been a lot harder.
He screened applicants, arranged trips, calculated costs.
Safety first.
But the book also highlights two brothers who innovated the circulating library, like today's book subscriptions.
Interesting. What did they do?
They offered delivery service, specifically for office workers. Visited offices, offered books, took orders.
Brought the books to the readers. Convenient.
People loved it, especially personalized recommendations.
A good idea.
Another unique service, a clipping service for artists, way before Google Images.
Wow. Before the internet, what did it offer?
He subscribed to tons of publications, clipped images, organized them. Artists would contact him with requests. He'd provide clippings for a fee.
Like a human-powered image search engine.
The book features Mr. Fraley. Had to retire from printing, but saw it as a new start.
So he didn't let retirement stop him.
He turned his home into a business, offered printing services, built a reputation for good work.
He used his skills to create a new opportunity.
Now, Lee Clark, a photographer in Chicago. He roamed the streets, taking candid shots, people, kids playing, the city's energy.
Capturing everyday life.
Sold his photos to newspapers, magazines, ad agencies, earned a living from his unique perspective.
He saw the beauty in the ordinary.
Mildred, she was trying to build a stenciling business, but struggled to attract customers.
Marketing can be tough when you're just starting out.
To showcase her skills, she invested in a portable duplicating machine, visited businesses, created sample designs right there.
A live demonstration. I like it.
It worked. Businesses were impressed with the quality, the speed. She started getting orders.
Show, don't tell. It's a good strategy.
Williams got into rare coins. Inspired by a newspaper article, a woman sold a $50 for a lot of money.
I bet that got his attention.
He researched rare coins, started examining his change, looking for valuable dates, mint marks.
You never know what you might find in your pocket.
And he found some, sold them for a profit.
It pays to be observant.
Now, a mobile grocery store, run by Rhea and Moore. They had a store in a rural town, but customers had to travel far.
That's a problem in a lot of rural areas.
They converted a truck into a shop, stocked it with groceries, produce, even household goods.
Wow. They really thought of everything.
Traveled a regular route, visiting farms, small communities.
Bringing the store to the people?
It was a huge success. Now, this one is simple, but it worked. Penny scales.
The ones that told your weight and fortune.
Harry Larson was fascinated by them. Noticed how many people used them.
He saw the potential.
Became an operator. Started placing scales in businesses.
Low overhead, high potential.
He had 70 scales in different businesses. Sadie Miller, she made a living from shrimping.
Shrimping is hard work.
It is. But she had a talent for it. Sold her catch to restaurants, markets.
Quality sells.
She faced challenges, but persevered. Now, personalized stationery, invitations, still popular today.
I agree. There's something special about them.
One entrepreneur offered specialized printing services for weddings, parties. He designed, printed invitations, stationery programs.
It's all about the details.
He built a reputation for his creativity, attention to detail. His business thrived. Next up, the tire rental service.
Tire rental.
Harold Holt, a tire store owner, was struggling, needed to stand out.
What did he do?
He offered to rent tires, targeted those who couldn't afford new ones or only needed them temporarily.
Interesting.
He rented tires for special occasions, weddings, funerals, vacations.
I see. When people really need reliable transportation.
His service was a hit. He expanded his inventory, his customer base. As we wrap up our deep dive into 1,000 ways to make $1,000, it's fitting the book ends with 52 money-making ideas for women.
Recognizing women's contributions.
It suggests services women could offer. Childcare, elder care, errands, sewing, beauty services.
A wide range of essential skills.
They emphasize being proactive, networking, letting people know what you can do.
Creating your own opportunities.
I'm feeling pretty inspired by all these stories.
Me too. These stories are timeless. They show that challenges can spurt creativity. Opportunities are everywhere.
So as we wrap up, here's a thought. What seemingly outdated skill or service from the past could be reimagined for today? What could lead to entrepreneurial success now?
It's a great question. There are so many possibilities.
Exactly. It's about finding those unmet needs. Thanks for joining us. Remember, the entrepreneurial spirit is timeless. Keep exploring, keep innovating, and who knows, maybe you'll discover your own 1,000 ways to make 1,000.